Ladies and gentlemen, from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, Dr. Nathan Baeckeland.
What if one morning you woke up and nothing turned on? No light, no hot shower, no coffee, no internet. Our daily lives completely depend on electricity, yet we rarely think about how it gets to us until something goes wrong. For decades, our electricity has come from large traditional power plants, running on steady energy sources like coal and gas. And these plants don't just generate power, they also form the frequency and voltage of our grid, which powers your house at 60 Hertz and 120 volts. They are the backbone of our electricity system, and we call them grid-forming power plants. But now, we see a shift towards renewable energy sources, like wind and solar. And to connect these sources to the grid, we use an inverter, which is a box of electronics and software that converts this volatile renewable energy into usable electricity. However, unlike traditional power plants, most inverters don't form the frequency and voltage. They simply follow the existing grid. In other words, most inverters don't naturally provide stability to the grid, and that is a huge problem. Why is that? Well, imagine a normal bike that sets the pace and the direction, similar to how grid-forming power plants set the frequency and voltage in the grid. Now imagine a tag-along bike that latches onto and follows the main bike, similar to how grid-following inverters behave in the grid. But what do you think will happen when we keep adding more and more tag-along bikes? The bike becomes unstable, and if we remove the main bike, the whole system collapses. And that's exactly the risk we face as we replace these traditional power plants with grid-following inverters. So, if we want a reliable grid powered by renewables, we need inverters that don't just follow but form the grid, like traditional power plants. And this is where my research comes in. I design grid-forming inverters that behave just like traditional power plants. And together with my colleagues at NREL, we recently patented a breakthrough method that I invented that we can integrate in these inverters to make them more robust, even when the grid is wobbly. Basically, I designed stabilizers for the bike so that it doesn't collapse. And this is great news. By developing grid-forming technologies today, we are making sure that no matter how much the grid evolves, our electricity remains as affordable and reliable as ever. And you will never have to wonder if you'll have your coffee in the morning.